TRT at this stage hits differently than it does in a man who's still overweight and his metabolic health is compromised.
Okay, and so he just told bro to jump onto HRT. Coach Greg, in today's video, I stopped taking Retta after 90 days, but boy, do I wish I knew this sooner. I mean, more people should be talking about Ozempic and or Tirzepatide, considering that they're legal, considering that compounding pharmacies are making them, but there's still a lot of people willing to experiment by taking a research chemical known as Retta.
There's 37 clinical trials, over 9,000 patients, all tracked after coming off a GLP-1. The average person gained back every pound they lost within 18 months.
If you take Retta, you're taking it right now and you're noticing all of this weight loss, what do you think's going to happen when you stop taking it? You're going to gain all the weight back. The same thing as if you just changed all of your diet. You eat McDonald's every day, and now you swapped it out for a salad until you lose all the weight. If after losing the weight, you go back to eating McDonald's, you're going to regain all the weight. That is how it works.
Today marks 10 weeks since I came off Retatudride after running it for 16 weeks. I pushed my dose up to 6 milligrams per week. As you can see, I'm still able to maintain 8 to 10% body fat.
Nick, he's been able to lose all of that weight and keep it off even without Retta. He is in fact a guinea pig. He tried Retta on himself. He got down into 8 to 10% body fat. He stopped it and he's been able to maintain that shredded physique year-round. I want to point out that he's actually been shredded before he took Retta. I mean, I've been watching his videos for several years now, and he was in fact shredded before he even started taking the Retta. Nick did not need 6 milligrams of Retta, and you don't need it either. Yeah, I know. In clinical trials, they keep giving people higher and higher doses of Retta, and they use a substantial amount of weight. People don't need these high doses. They don't need to lose that much weight because the results have been that people are losing muscle. Not only are they losing muscle, their bone density is going down. And so what's happening is they're taking such high doses that they're essentially not hungry. I've seen it in almost every person who's been taking these drugs. They take such a high dose that they don't have any appetite. If you abuse a drug in order to get that weight off, once you stop abusing it, the weight is going to come back. And so the problem isn't actually coming off of Retta. It's using it in a way in the first place that makes coming off of it impossible.
Somewhere between week 4 and 8, after the last injection, those sneaky signs of the rebound start to creep up.
And so that is the first thing that you need to know. If you think you can just stop taking Retta, that all the hard work is done, of which there is no hard work, you take a drug, it makes you less hungry, and you just go about your day. You have no appetite, and so you don't eat, and your weight goes down. Now, granted, it's a lot of muscle, and you're an idiot for doing that, and you're abusing a drug that's not even approved for human consumption as of yet. You're, in fact, a guinea pig, but hey, it's all fun and games because you're going down a dress size. Almost all of the hard work, the hardest work, comes after the diet is over. It comes after you stop taking Retta. It's like I've said this for years, bodybuilding. The hardest part of the diet is after the show. You've gotten shredded, it's a lot of work, you did the cardio, you did the things, but now that you're in shape, now that you're lean, it's going to be a nightmare if you ever think you can keep that weight off.
The hunger comes all back at once.
Saying the hunger comes back all at once is 100% not true. What's going to in fact happen is the hunger is slowly going to come back into your body as the Retta exits your body. Retta, it compounds itself. Every time you do a shot, some of the previous shot remains and it keeps building up in your body in the same way that this happens when you're doing testosterone. And so perhaps it'll take about 6 weeks to be at its peak effect. It's going to take about 6 weeks to be at its lowest effect. And so if you stop taking Retta, perhaps about 1 week later, you're going to start noticing, hey, wait a minute, I'm feeling a little bit more hungry than before. And each week after that, up until about week 6, you're going to then notice all of the hunger coming back and then some. And why is that? Well, because you're at a lower body weight. Your body fat percentage is lower. You're below your genetic set point. Perhaps your body wanted you to be between 15 and 25%. You're at 12. It's very, very low. And because of that, ghrelin is going to be released more than ever before, and you're always going to be hungry. You might, for example, eat 2 meals at once, 2,000 calories, and you're thinking, I want a third. You're never satisfied. You're never satiated. And you're thinking, well, Coach Greg, how do you know? You haven't taken Retta. I've been a bodybuilder. I've competed to sub 5% body fat, and let me tell you, every single person that diets to below their genetic set point is going to have an extreme amount of difficulty in order to stay there. It ain't easy. Essentially, you have to have the greatest willpower in the world, and unless you have that, you can't maintain it. Now, if you do in fact add in a shit ton of cardio, you have a lot of muscle, and you're always active, you can, of course, eat way more calories and maintain a very low body fat percentage. I'm able to maintain single-digit body fat, but I'm only doing so because I'm racing bikes. Yesterday's race was 82 kilometers. I was on the bike for over 2 hours, burning almost 1,000 calories per hour, and so, of course, I can stay lean. But if I hadn't have done that race, all those extra calories, those 3 entrees and a dessert that I had at a restaurant the night before, those extra calories would have turned to body fat, and so that is the only reason I'm able to stay lean.
The moment the Retta leaves your system, all 3 go offline at the same time. And the aggressive calorie deficit you ran on top of all that has already trained your body to run on less.
Pause it right there. Notice he says aggressive calorie deficit that you ran. That is your first mistake. You're not Tristan Lee. Tristan Lee cuts his calories from 3,500 to 2,000, ups his cardio, loses 15 pounds in 3 weeks. Most of you, as in all of you, if you tried to do that, you're going to lose muscle. Your metabolism is going to slow down, and that is a mistake. I don't want you to make mistakes. And so if you do, in fact, try to use Retta, try not to set records on how much fat you can lose. I know that you're thinking the faster the better, or so it seems, but it isn't true. The faster you lose weight, the worse it is for you. It may sound counterintuitive, but if you lose fat really, really quickly, you're also going to be losing muscle. And once you stop, you're going to regain a lot of that fat without the muscle that came with it. And so the first thing you need to do, if you are in fact going to use Retta or any of the GLPs, is to lose the weight slowly, slower than last time. How fast can you lose the weight? Maximum I would recommend is 1% of your body weight each and every week. And that's only for people who are including cardio. If you're just doing it with diet alone, I think it's much safer to only shoot for 0.5% of your body weight. And so if you're 200 pounds, 0.5% to 1% is 1 to 2 pounds a week.
Let's consider John and help him exit from this Retatudride cycle. He got on Retta 5 months ago. He worked his way up to 4 milligrams per week. He dropped about 35 pounds in the last 20 weeks.
What should you do? Let's say you're like John and you've used 4 milligrams of Retta and you dropped 35 pounds in 20 weeks. That is a lot. It's just about 2 pounds a week. So right around the maximum.
His wife is happier and his old clothes do not fit anymore. Now he wants to come off. And like most men in his position, his plan is to just stop injecting and maintain.
He now wants to come off. Well, the first problem he should understand is if he comes off, he's going to regain some of that weight. I mean, if you take blood pressure medication and then you stop, what happens to your blood pressure? If you're a diabetic and you stop taking insulin, what do you think happens? If you used cardio to lose the weight and you stop doing cardio, what will then happen? If you were eating from my cookbook, eating healthy, adding fiber, having salads, protein, ice cream, and you stop doing that and go again to eating McDonald's, what will happen? And so what do you think is going to happen to this bro when he stops taking Retta?
Here's what John is going to do instead. And what you also should do if you're on Retatudride looking to come off. Just taper down. So weeks 1 and 2, John drops down from 4 milligrams to 2 milligrams.
I think that Nick's advice to go from 4 to 2 and then from 2 to 1, it makes sense. I just think he needs to do this over a longer period of time.
John's been running an aggressive deficit for 16 plus weeks, so he doesn't jump straight back into maintenance calories the moment he comes off. Instead, John's gonna add 200 to 300 to 400 calories for the next few weeks.
Consider this, he was running an aggressive diet. An aggressive diet, Gress mentioned, is probably somewhere around 750 to 1,000 calorie deficit each and every day. No one's going to say it's aggressive to only go on a 500 calorie cut. And so if you're on an aggressive cut and you've cut out about 1,000 calories a day from your diet and your diet's now over, you're happy with how you look. If you don't go back up to maintenance and you're still in a deficit, for example, you listen to Nick Trilogy's advice here, which makes 0 sense, and you only add 200 to 400 calories, you're going to continue to lose weight. And because you're already at perhaps your ideal weight, you stopped the dieting, you're happy with how you look, you're going to continue to get even leaner. And so what happens is, if you follow this advice, you're going from an aggressive cut to a regular cut, which is still going to cause you to lose weight. Rather than losing perhaps 1.5 to 2 pounds a week, you'll probably go to losing only 1 pound a week. This is not enough. You need to increase the calories to maintenance, or you're still going to be losing weight. And yes, some of that weight is still going to continue to be muscle. What should you do? When your diet is over, you go back up to maintenance. That's it. Now, a better advice would be this. Before you reach your maintenance goal, before you reach, let's say your goal is 12% body fat. Before you get to 12, once you're at 15, you already reduce your dose of Reta. If you're at 4 milligrams a day, you reduce it to 2. Rather than trying to lose it faster than last time, you slow it down and you slowly get there. That way, when you do in fact add 200 to 400 calories, you're actually going to be at maintenance. That would be one way, but a better way is this. You shouldn't have been in an aggressive cut in the first place. You were losing weight too quickly, which is why you lost muscle. And so rather than being on 4 milligrams of Reta, you should have been at 2 all along, and you shouldn't have been in a 1,000 calorie deficit. It should have been 500. You could have very easily done this the entire time. It would have taken twice as long, yes, but you wouldn't have lost any muscle whatsoever. You essentially would be body recomping, and at the end of the cut, you would be on a significantly lower dose of Reta, which is much easier to taper off from. That is the real advice. And all the while, what you also should have done is you should have lost half the weight without using Reta whatsoever. Now, you all know I'm a part owner of AlgoRx. If you purchase products from them, I of course make money. But I don't want to make money at the expense of you making a mistake. And so I don't want you to go out and run to AlgoRx and start purchasing all their peptides to help you to lose weight and do all the things without making daily changes in your life. And so before you go to AlgoRx, before you purchase their products, I want you to add in cardio. I want you to eat lower calories, have more fruits and vegetables, low-fat dairy. Do the healthy things that you know will help you to get halfway there on your own. And only once you need it, once the hunger takes over, once you've already lost some weight, then add those products only if you need it.
He dropped 35 pounds. His visceral fat is noticeably lower. His inflammatory markers are down. His fasting glucose improved. And his insulin sensitivity is at a level that most men his age have never ever seen before. The last point is the one that changes everything now.
You've now done it, okay? You've lost the 35 pounds. You've tapered off the Reta. You're in the clear. Now, this is the building phase. And so this is what Nick wants you to do. And so what I want you to do is I want you to gain. You keep your body fat at a healthy body fat percentage, and you slowly try to add on muscle. You go to the gym, you're perhaps training your entire body twice a week, which you should. You're doing cardio, minimum 150 minutes of cardio a week. And of course, double that if you really care about longevity. You're going to try to improve your VO2 max. You might have some days where you do intervals. Most of your days, perhaps 80% of them are going to be zone 2, which is moderate cardio. It's kind of easy, but you can do it sustainably. But perhaps there's some days in there where you're going a little bit harder. That is the ideal. And so myself, I'm doing 10 hours of cardio a week, and I'm doing a full body workout twice a week. Now, you don't have to do that, but let's say you're doing a full body workout twice a week and you're doing cardio 150 minutes a week. What should you then do? Aside from just trying to improve in the gym, progressive overload and so on. Let's listen to Nick.
TRT at this stage, with insulin sensitivity optimized and body fat being low and his blood work is clean, hits differently than it does in a man who is still overweight and his metabolic health is compromised.
He just told bro to jump onto HRT. He just said you need to take HRT. Now, if you get on HRT, it is for life. Is he then going to have another video? I stopped taking TRT after 90 days. Wish I knew this sooner. Because he just said you just dropped the weight, you 35 pounds. Your wife and yourself both are happy. Things are great. Jump on TRT. What kind of advice is that? Jump on medication that he's going to need to take for the rest of his life. Why would you say that? Now, if he had said, take G-Test Platinum, try to optimize your hormones. Or if he had said, go and get your blood work to make sure that your testosterone levels are in range, that you're not suffering from any other problem. And then, and only then, take TRT, well, I could get with that. But he didn't mention enclomiphene. Is it possible that bro just needed enclomiphene? I mean, if your testosterone is tanked because of the diet that you went on, it's possible that the reason your testosterone was tanked was because of the crazy diet.
John's body is primed. TRT is now going to be the lever that lets him take full advantage of that priming before the window closes.
There is no window. As soon as you stop Reta, you're primed to take TRT. You're primed for testosterone. Take it now before the window closes. What about waiting a couple months and seeing if your testosterone can go back to normal? Why not take G-Test Platinum? Change your diet and see. Maybe your testosterone was at 300 nanograms per deciliter, but in 2 months it's back to 600. You didn't need TRT after all.
The peptide bridge fills every one of those gaps. It does something else that most men have never considered. It connects the exit directly to the building, because the same compounds that protect your results coming off Reta are the ones that prime your body to build on top of them.
Okay, and so now that you cut out Reta, you're saying that your testosterone is down, your IGF is down, everything is down, and you need a group of peptides that they should buy probably from whatever you're promoting in order to offset the dangers of stopping one peptide, the GLP. And so what exactly should they then be adding? Because they took Reta to lose weight and now they need exactly what? On top of TRT.
Now, here are the peptides I integrate into my protocol while coming off Retatudride. The first one is 5-amino 1-MQ.
There's one.
The next peptide is AOD 9604.
AOD 964.
Peptide 3, tesamorelin.
Tesamorelin. We're not done.
IGF-1, LR3.
I mean, it's starting to sound we're prepping for a bodybuilding competition here. We've added 4 peptides already.
And the last peptide I would use in this transition phase, MOTS-C.
5 peptides to replace 1. Now, if you're a multimillionaire like Coach Greg, this isn't even going to make a dent. But for most people, what do you think is more expensive? Using 1 peptide, Reta, which got you where you needed to be, or using 5 peptides. Now, ask yourself this. How many times did Nick suggest to eat fruits and vegetables, to add in cardio, to have low-calorie dense foods, or to purchase Coach Greg's cookbook? I didn't notice him tell you that. Which do you think would make Nick more money if you purchase Reta or if you purchase 5 different peptides, or better still, if you do both? Start with Reta and swap over to these 5 peptides, and in addition to that, let's add an HRT. Does that sound like he's maybe, just maybe a little bit pushing you to take things that you don't actually need? I know many of you are going to get mad and say that I suggest that you could take Turk Builder Max, Turk Platinum, natural supplements, no negative side effects. What do you think is going to cost more? Like, if I thought that these were all so good, why wouldn't I be taking them? Like, why am I not on IGF-1? Why am I not taking all these growth hormones, secretagogues, and so on? Why am I not taking G8 itself? Because I don't need it. And I do believe that if you take these things long term, that they can, in fact, potentially borrow from your longevity. And so you're trading in your good years in the future for good years right now. I don't think it's worth it. Can you take it? Yes. Do I think you need it? No. And if I was coaching someone and they said, I watched Nick's video and I think I want to take Reta and then jump on those 5 medications, I would think, well, wasn't your goal to just get lean? And if Reta is the one thing that you needed to do that, why not just take it at the lowest dose that makes you happy and continue, rather than taking a bunch of different drugs which have different negative side effects? Do y'all think there's nothing negative that can happen from these peptides? There is no free lunch. You cannot just take all of these peptides and experience nothing negative whatsoever. And so in conclusion, Nick's suggestion is to stop taking Reta, 1 peptide, and add in 5 others, and in addition to that, HRT. There you have it. show's over.
Click the first link in the description to book a call with us. We work with high-performing men only who are serious about keeping the results they earn.
And so if you're interested, go and check out Nick's video. You can click the link. Him and his concierge team can coach you on how to take all these things. Or you can go to AlgoRx. You can ask them. They have their doctors. They can do blood work. They can prescribe only legal medications. They don't sell RETA. And so if you want to get RETA, you can't get it from Reta. And so if you want to get Reta, you can't get it from AlgoRx because everything they do is above board. We're not trying to sell you some sneaky research chemicals. We don't have some scammy peptide site. And so you do what you want. If you want doctor-prescribed medications from compounding pharmacies and you only want to use legal products, you don't want to break any laws, you can go to AlgoRx. You can also go to Nick Trilogy and take 5 peptides if you want. I'm not saying that no one wants that. It's just not everyone. Remember, they said they want serious people, this is people with money, to go there and buy a shit ton of products. And so what I also want you to do is I want you to go to Merrick Health so that you can have an idea of how much stuff actually costs, so that when you go to AlgoRx, you can see that we're not trying to rip you off. So you can call Coach Greg a snake oil salesman all you want, but when push comes to shove, the company that I own is all above board, nothing suspicious, and we're not pushing anything on you. And all of my supplements are exactly what they state to be. It's not like some other companies that pretend to sell Ajuga turkistanica. I'm not going to, of course I'm naming names. Derek from Gorilla Mind, they were selling a scam non-Ajuga turkistanica. They were lying to you. We've proven this. And if you want the real Ajuga turkistanica, you go to HTLT Supplements, where you can purchase all the top supplements in the world. Don't forget, code Greg, 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button. Don't forget to watch any of those 2 bloops. And of course, comment to boost the algo for AlgoRx. You know how to click there. If you want to get sponsored by myself, you want to be coached by me and my team, or if you want to have my supplements in your stores and or gym, click the link. And until next time, I am out.